2 tours Iraq, 3 tours Afghanistan. Rex had never left Daniel's side. Now lawyers were saying, the dog needs to be reassigned. He's my only family, Daniel cried. Just then, Rex started barking. That special bark Daniel knew all too well. Everyone in the courtroom wondered, what had the dog sensed? Welcome to Honor Stories. Before we begin this powerful story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these stories alive. The federal courthouse carried a different energy that morning than usual. In the courtroom on the 3rd floor, the hearing about to take place wasn't just a legal matter. This was a moment where the bond between a man and his most loyal friend would be tested, where justice would confront emotional reality. When the courtroom doors opened in the early morning hours, the first person to enter was Sergeant Daniel Richardson. The 34-year-old former soldier entered the room with slow but determined steps, using his crutches. His left leg was prosthetic and deep scar marks were visible on his right leg. Beside him walked a black and brown German shepherd named Rex. The dog's posture was perfect. Head high, steps measured, eyes constantly scanning the environment. Daniel's face looked tired. Sleep deprivation, stress, and anxiety had created dark circles under his eyes. His hands trembled slightly, a physical symptom of PTSD. But when he held Rex's leash, his hand steadied. The dog's presence served as an anchor for him. "Let's sit here, Rex," Daniel said, his voice carrying both love and worry. Rex obeyed what he perceived more as a request than a command. He sat beside Daniel's chair and gently rested his head against his owner's knee. This simple gesture showed the deep bond between them. Daniel's attorney, Sarah Mitchell, entered the front of the courtroom. The 42-year-old experienced lawyer specialized in veterans' rights. She carried a thick file, countless documents chronicling Daniel and Rex's shared history. Mitchell approached her client and gave him a reassuring smile. "Are you ready, Daniel?" the attorney asked. "I don't think I'm ready," Daniel said honestly. "But I'm not ready to lose Rex." The attorney nodded understandingly. "I'll do everything I can. The court will understand Rex's role in your life," she replied. At this time, representatives from the opposing side were entering the courtroom. Leading them was Colonel Thomas Carter, a 50-year-old disciplined officer from the Army's legal department. His uniform was spotless, his posture reflecting perfect military bearing. Beside him were civilian attorney Linda Palmer and military veterinarian Dr. James Morrison. Carter gave Daniel a respectful salute when he saw him. Daniel tried to stand using his crutches, but Carter raised his hand to signal him to remain seated. "Sergeant Richardson," Carter said in a formal but respectful tone, "I know today will be difficult." "Colonel Carter," Daniel replied, "I hope the right decision will be made." Carter looked at Rex. The dog assessed him, but showed no aggression. "Rex is truly an extraordinary dog," Carter said sincerely. "He's my brother," Daniel said, his voice hoarse. The courtroom began to fill. Local media reporters, Daniel's former comrades in arms, veterans' rights activists, and curious citizens took their seats. Everyone's eyes were on Daniel and Rex. At exactly 9:30, the side door of the courtroom opened and Judge Margaret Hayes entered. The 55-year-old experienced judge had decided thousands of cases in her 20-year career. "All rise," said the court clerk. Daniel struggled to stand using his crutches. Rex instinctively moved to a sitting position and helped his owner maintain balance. Judge Hayes took her seat and adjusted her glasses. "The case of Richardson versus Army is now in session," the judge said. "In this case, Sergeant Daniel Richardson seeks ownership of military service dog Rex." Sarah Mitchell stood up. "Your Honor, this case is not merely a property dispute," the attorney said. "This is a critical matter where a human life is at stake." The judge nodded. I understand, Attorney Mitchell, she replied. Please summarize your client's situation. Mitchell opened her file. Sergeant Richardson served alongside Rex for 5 years, the attorney said. 2 tours Iraq, 3 tours Afghanistan. During this time, Rex saved my client's life at least 6 times. Hearing this number, Daniel turned his eyes to Rex. The dog raised his head to look at his owner, as if understanding the conversation. Mitchell continued. In a bombing attack in Helmand Province, my client was severely injured and lost his left leg, she said. That day, Rex not only saved Daniel's life, but also helped transport him to a safe zone. At that moment, Rex suddenly raised his head. His ears perked up, and he looked toward the door. Daniel immediately noticed this change. Rex, what is it? Daniel whispered. The dog whined softly but didn't move from his position. He just continued to focus his attention on the door. Colonel Carter stood up. Your Honor, the Army's position is clear, the colonel said. Rex is an extremely valuable, trained military working dog. Despite being 8 years old, he is still capable of active duty. Dr. Morrison also stood up. Your Honor, my veterinary examination determined that Rex can serve actively for at least 3 more years, the doctor said. Don't talk about objects, Daniel suddenly shouted. He tried to stand using his crutches. Rex is not an object. The judge struck the table with her gavel. Sergeant Richardson, please remain calm, the judge said sternly. Daniel tried to catch his breath. I apologize, Your Honor, he said, but he's not a dog. He's my brother. Rex sensed the distress in Daniel's voice. He stood up and rested his head on his owner's knee. This movement caught everyone's attention in the courtroom. Sarah Mitchell intervened. Your Honor, as you can see, the bond between them is extraordinary, the attorney said. This is not just the result of training, but of lived experiences. Colonel Carter objected. Your Honor, we understand the emotional bonds, he said, but national security is at stake. We urgently need trained dogs like Rex. How many more soldiers must die? Daniel asked, his voice trembling. Will you take Rex and put other soldiers' lives at risk? Sergeant Richardson, the judge said sternly, such statements are unacceptable. Daniel bowed his head. I apologize, he said, but I can't live without Rex. Just then, Rex suddenly jumped up. He pulled his leash from Daniel's hand, but it didn't break. The dog tensed up, ears alert, eyes focused on the door. Rex, Daniel said in surprise. With a slight tug, the dog broke free from his leash and began running toward the back door of the courtroom. The movement was so sudden that the room fell silent. Rex, Daniel shouted in panic. The dog stopped in front of the door and began barking intensely. This was the type of bark Daniel knew very well. Alarm barking, emergency signal. What's happening? Judge Hayes asked anxiously. Daniel tried to walk toward Rex with his crutches. He senses danger, Daniel said. When Rex barks like this, there's definitely a problem. Colonel Carter approached skeptically. This could just be stress, the colonel said. No, Daniel said decisively. Rex is never wrong. He barked like this when he protected us from a car bomb in Kandahar. Rex's barking intensified. The dog paced in front of the door, every muscle tensed and waiting. Judge Hayes stood up anxiously. Call security, the judge said. The court clerk grabbed the phone. Security to the courtroom, urgent, the clerk said. At that moment, Rex suddenly fell silent. He turned his head to the side, as if listening to a very faint sound from far away. Then he began barking again, this time even more forcefully. Daniel's face had gone pale. Please listen to me, he said. Rex's instincts are never wrong. A metallic sound was heard at the door. The door handle slowly turned. Rex immediately jumped and lunged towards the door. His barking reached almost screaming levels. The door opened and a uniformed security guard entered. He had a radio in his hand. "Your Honor," the guard said, "we're conducting routine security checks in the building." Rex approached the security guard. He sniffed him and his barking decreased, but didn't stop completely. "Is there any problem?" Judge Hayes asked. "We're checking now, ma'am," the guard replied. After the security guard left, Rex returned to Daniel's side, but he remained alert, ears still upright. "Rex, calm down," Daniel said, stroking the dog's head. 5 minutes later, the security guard returned. This time, his face was serious. "Your Honor," he said in an official tone, "we've detected a suspicious package in the building's basement. The bomb squad is on the way. We need to evacuate the building immediately." The courtroom immediately erupted. Everyone began running toward the exit. Panic and chaos reigned. Daniel tried to rely on his crutches but struggled to maintain balance in the crowd. Rex immediately sprang into action, pressing close to Daniel to support him. Sarah Mitchell came to Daniel's other side. "Let's get out immediately," the attorney said. Colonel Carter also approached. "Sergeant, let us help," the colonel said. "Thank you, Colonel," Daniel said. As they exited the building, Carter turned to Daniel. "Sergeant Richardson, Rex is truly extraordinary," he said. "I know, sir," Daniel said, his eyes filling with tears. While waiting outside, Judge Hayes also joined them. "Sergeant Richardson, your dog may have saved all our lives," the judge said. "Rex is always like this, Your Honor," Daniel replied. "He's not just my protector, but everyone's." When the bomb squad arrived, they indeed found dangerous material in the basement. If Rex hadn't given the warning, everyone in the courtroom would have been in great danger. Colonel Carter approached Daniel. He had dropped his formal demeanor. "Sergeant," he said quietly, "I'm withdrawing this case." Daniel was surprised. "Sir?" he asked. "Rex didn't just save you today. He saved all of us," Carter said. "A dog like this belongs wherever he belongs." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Colonel," he said. Carter looked at Rex. "But I have one request," the colonel said. "Could we use Rex as a part-time consulting dog? Of course, you would be included in the program, too." Daniel looked at Rex. The dog was wagging his tail. "As long as I'm with Rex, I'm ready for any service, sir," Daniel replied. Judge Hayes also approached. "This case is now academic," the judge said. "Sergeant Richardson, Rex is officially yours." Daniel leaned on his crutches and crouched down next to Rex. He held the dog's head with both hands. "Did you hear that, Rex?" Daniel said. "We'll never be separated again." Rex licked Daniel's face and wagged his tail frantically. 3 months later, Daniel and Rex were working at a military training camp. Daniel was teaching young soldiers how to cope with PTSD, while Rex played a consulting role in training new military dogs. Every morning when Daniel arrived at camp with his crutches, Rex walked beside him, supporting him with every step. Young soldiers watched them with admiration. "How is this possible?" one of the young soldiers had asked. "How did Rex know there was a bomb?" Daniel had smiled. "Rex doesn't just sense bombs, he senses all kinds of danger," he had replied. "His nose is 10,000 times more sensitive than ours. But that's not the real point." "What is the real point?" the soldier had asked. "The real point is trust," Daniel had said. "Rex trusts me. I trust him. We survived because of this trust." The dogs at the training camp looked up to Rex. He was not just an instructor, but also a mentor. He taught young dogs how to stay calm, how to focus, how to sense human emotions. Every day when they returned home, both were happy. Daniel was no longer alone, and Rex had found a new purpose. He not only protected Daniel, but also touched the lives of other soldiers. In the evenings, when Daniel watched television, Rex lay at his feet. Sometimes when Daniel removed his prosthetic leg, Rex waited beside him, providing moral support. "What do you think, partner?" Daniel asked one evening, stroking Rex's head. Did we make the right decision? Rex wagged his tail and licked Daniel's hand. This answer was enough. On weekends when they walked in the park, people watched them. As Daniel slowly moved forward with his crutches, Rex matched his pace. He never went ahead, always stayed beside him. One day, an elderly veteran approached them in the park. "Aren't you the pair from that courthouse?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Daniel said. "Was there really a bomb that Rex found?" the old man asked. "There was no explosive, but there were toxic chemicals," Daniel replied. "Rex prevented innocent people from being harmed." The old man petted Rex. "You're a real hero," he said. Rex wagged his tail as if accepting the thanks. The courtroom that day had witnessed more than just a legal decision. It had witnessed the power of loyalty, intuition, and second chances, and Rex had once again proven that real heroes sometimes come on four legs. Every night before bed, Daniel looked at Rex. The dog lay in his own bed, next to Daniel's bed, but never closed his eyes. He was still waiting, still protecting. "Rex," Daniel would say each time, "you can sleep peacefully now, we're safe." But Rex had no intention of abandoning his duty. He wasn't just Daniel's dog, he was also his guardian angel. Now I ask you, have you ever had such a loyal friend in your life who protected you, watched over you, never left you alone? Have you experienced such a bond? Share their stories in the comments. Subscribe to Honor Stories because stories of loyalty, courage, and love need to be heard. These kinds of stories need to be kept alive. See you in the next story. And remember, sometimes the greatest heroes come on four legs.